Alrighty folks, so today what we're doing is we're taking a look at Vampyr on the PS4. I'm going to be sharing my first impressions of Vampyr based off of what I played so far. So without further ado folks, let's jump right into it. So Vampyr is this game basically where you're this badass vampire, you're roaming around London, everyone's got all these diseases, and you roam around as this badass vampire and you start sucking freaking blood. But seriously, this is a really unique game. I wouldn't say it's like the most polished experience, you know, in the world, because, you know, there's bugs here and there's some technical problems with it, but you look past those technical problems, you look past those bugs, and you'll find something truly unique that probably won't be for everyone. This is a game that does things sort of differently. This is a game that makes you care about the NPCs that inhabit the world. And I'll talk a little bit more about this, but man, this is really a game that kind of makes you sit back and think about what you're doing, because folks, what you're doing matters in this world. You do have consequences, and it's a really interesting concept here. So let's kind of dive into it a little bit deeper here. I want to start with the combat real quick, because the combat's obviously very important here, as it is in many games. Combat's pretty interesting. You know, it's sort of similar to like what you would see in an Assassin's Creed game or in a Batman game. You have a light, you have heavy, you have a dodge, you have a block, you have a special ability, all that sort of thing. The stealth, I don't really think there's a stealth system here in this game. At least I haven't figured out how to do it. You can't like crouch or anything like that. You can like kind of dash like a vampire does, like, you know, but you can't like do anything like really stealthy. And I wish there was a little bit more of an emphasis on stealth, but whatever, you know, the combat's fine. It does what it needs to do and it gets the job done. And to me, it's pretty satisfying. You know, I mean, it's obviously not like going to be the main focus here, but again, it does what it needs to do. And I thought I'd bring that up because some people are talking about the comment and they're saying, oh, it's not that great. And I'm like, well, I don't really see why there's really a reason to nitpick. I mean, again, it does what it needs to do, gets the job done. It's pretty satisfying at times. But at the same time, it is kind of a little easy, on the easy side. Now, I did read something during the loading screen that said something to the extent of, if I kill more people here in this game, I think the difficulty either ramps up or decreases. I can't remember the specifics, but I thought that was pretty interesting. So let's dive into that a little more. Now, like I said earlier, the choices you make, they kind of matter. And what's really interesting about this game is that when you talk to the NPCs here in this world, it's like, it feels like a different game. You know how you talk to these NPCs in these other games, and they seem disposable? This game, you don't really get that feeling. It seems like all of the characters really matter. You get to know them because there's a lot of dialogue, and you have the choice. You can take all of them out. You know, you can just be this badass vampire that doesn't give a shit about anything and just start sucking blood left and right. But there's going to be consequences if you want to play like that. And I think it's really, really interesting. And this game sort of reminds me, I know this is going to sound a little crazy, but bear with me, but this game sort of reminds me like of a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's very heavy on dialogue and very heavy on character building through dialogue. And I don't know, it's sort of weird because this game, when I'm talking to this character, I'm like, well, man, I can really, you know, I could really take him out and, you know, improve my character, but at the same time, there's going to be consequences, and at the same time, because I've been talking to this dude for a while now, I don't know, I kind of feel bad about it. I don't know if that sounds weird or not, but that's one thing that this game really nails down. It's like, man, I kind of feel bad about some of these NPCs and taking out some of these people in this game, because it's like, I don't know, for some reason, I'm having a connection with the people that inhabit this world, and I've never, ever felt that before in a game like this before. It's really interesting. Now, we do have to talk about some technical issues that this game does have. Now, keep in mind, I'm playing this on the base PS4 with the patches installed, and I ran into this one bug where I opened the gate up to go to the next, like, district or area or whatever, and the game just wouldn't load. Like, it refused to load, and I fell through the map, and I had to, you know, once I reloaded everything, it was fine, but that was a very, very strange and kind of inexcusable bug. Sometimes if you traverse throughout the world in a very quick manner, the game has to kind of catch up and load, so it will kind of stop you. And that's kind of annoying as well. There's some pop-in and frame rate issues. I mean, there's nothing necessarily game-breaking other than that bug that I did mention, but it was rare. So, you know, I wouldn't go in being worried about the bugs, but just know that it does have some technical limitations. But really, overall, I mean, this is a really interesting and in some ways a unique game. Your choices matter. You care about the NPCs. You have freedom. The one thing that I will say is that the world isn't necessarily populated all that much. But I don't know. I feel like there's not all that. I mean, it's obviously not a full open world game. It's like a semi-open world game. But overall, it's a lot of fun. It's a unique, interesting game. It's not necessarily a game for everyone because it's heavy on dialogue and it's heavy on learning about the characters in the world and your choices and upgrading you as the player and all of that thing. So I don't know, man. It's a really unique, interesting game. It's a little rough around the edges, but there's definitely something here. That's what I can say. There's definitely something here. It's fun to be just this badass vampire, like I said at the beginning of this video, where you just roam around like, oh, I'm going to kill everyone. You know, that's just a cool thing to kind of do here in these games, to kind of let off some steam and like, you know, it's crazy. So I recommend it right now. I'd say it's a little... For 60 right now anyway, again, based off of what I played, haven't completed it. I've only put a few hours into the game, so I'm sure things kind of ramp up even more. But I'd say 60 is a tad steep. If you can wait until it drops in price, and you can wait until there's more patches out so they can kind of fix some of those technical problems that the game is plagued with, then I think you're going to have some fun with this. You know, there's definitely something to see here. That's what I can tell you. So, those are my thoughts, first impressions on Vampyr. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.